Welcome to the Biopharma Business Intelligence Unit, where symbolic integrity meets strategic clarity. At BBIU, we go beyond the headlines to decode the structural forces behind global biopharma, AI, and economic realignment. If you value precision, verification, and symbolic depth, this channel is for you. Subscribe now to access our weekly briefings, dossiers, and intelligence reports, and consider joining our institutional tier to unlock early warning systems, custom metrics, and exclusive strategic insight. You're not just listening, you're entering the future of epistemic intelligence. www.biopharmabusinessintelligenceunit.com.
FDA removes the bridge trial requirement for biosimilars, regulatory and economic implications. One executive summary. On October 29, 2025, the FDA published a draft guidance proposing to eliminate, in many cases, the requirement for comparative clinical efficacy studies, bridge trials, for biosimilars. This change is expected to accelerate the development of these drugs and reduce their costs, which will have significant implications for both the healthcare economy and the regulatory and commercial dynamics of biologic medicines. This article explores the key aspects of this measure and its potential short and long-term effects on the global pharmaceutical industry, with a focus on its impact on biosimilar development strategies and cost reductions for consumers. 3 key structural findings. 3.1. Historical context of bridge trials. Bridge trials have been a significant barrier to biosimilar development. These studies, designed to demonstrate the clinical equivalence between the biosimilar and its reference product, have delayed both the approval and commercialization of new biosimilars, especially in regulated markets like the U.S. The removal of this requirement represents a disruption in previous regulatory norms, which have historically considered these studies necessary to ensure the safety and efficacy of products. 3.2. Impact of the FDA guidance. The FDA considers that, under certain conditions, clinical efficacy trials can be replaced by more in-depth analytical studies and pharmacokinetic evaluation. This means that for many biosimilars, tests analyzing the product's structure and immunogenicity can be used to determine its similarity to the reference product. This measure is expected to significantly reduce the costs and time associated with biosimilar development, making these medicines more accessible to a larger number of patients. Number 3.3. Implications for the industry. The change in regulation could substantially alter the competitive landscape in the biosimilar market. Large pharmaceutical companies, which have already heavily invested in biosimilar development, may benefit from a faster and more economical pathway for product approval. However, smaller manufacturers that do not have the capacity to conduct full clinical trials may face difficulties in competing in an increasingly saturated market. 4. Evidence data. 4.1. Biosimilar market data. According to the Global Biosimilars Market Report from 2024, the global biosimilars market is projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of 25%, reaching $27.9 billion by 2030. The elimination of the bridge trials requirement could further accelerate this growth, as development costs would be reduced and the introduction of new products to the market would be faster. 4.2. Impact on drug price and accessibility. According to a study conducted by Rand Corporation in 2023, biosimilar costs could decrease by 25%, 30% compared to reference products if regulatory processes are optimized. The FDA's proposed measure could be a decisive step in making biosimilars even more accessible, improving access to high-cost biologic treatments, particularly in markets like the U.S., where drug prices are a persistent concern. 5. BBIU Opinion 5.1. Regulatory perspective. The elimination of bridge trials could be seen as a necessary adjustment to accelerate innovation in a biosimilar market that has been slow due to regulatory barriers. However, the decision also carries risks, as the lack of comparative efficacy studies may undermine patient and physician trust in biosimilars. It is crucial for the FDA to maintain close monitoring of the long-term effects of this measure to ensure patient safety is not compromised. 5.2. Strategic implications for investors. For investors, this change presents an opportunity to evaluate companies that could benefit from reduced biosimilar production costs. Companies already positioned with biosimilar products on the market may see a significant increase in profit margins. However, The risks associated with market oversupply in an increasingly competitive biosimilar landscape must also be considered. Number 6. Final integrity verdict. The removal of the bridge trial requirement for biosimilars in the U.S. represents a significant opportunity to accelerate the development of these products and reduce their costs. While this change promises benefits in terms of accessibility and competitiveness, it is crucial to maintain rigorous post-market monitoring mechanisms to safeguard patient safety. 7. Structured opinion, BBIU analysis. 7.1. Detailed analysis. This shift represents a positive change in biosimilar development, but must be implemented with careful monitoring. Regulatory bodies, such as the FDA, must ensure that the standards for biosimilar efficacy and safety remain high, even without the mandatory bridge trials. The reduction of regulatory hurdles should result in faster time to market for biosimilars, potentially leading to more competitive pricing and increased access for patients in need of biologic therapies. 7.2. Final verdict. While the move to eliminate bridge trials will likely lower the cost of biosimilars and increase their accessibility, ensuring that patient safety is not compromised remains paramount. Continuous post-marketing surveillance is essential to maintaining trust in biosimilar therapies. You've reached the end of the open section of this BBIU content. The complete analysis, with full data, structural frameworks, and extended annexes, is available exclusively to our subscribers. At BBIU, we believe the real value lies beyond headlines, in the depth of structural intelligence that helps leaders and organizations see further. If you want access to the complete archive and future reports, join us at BBIU and take part in the next level of analysis.